Okay, this tutorial is going to show you guys how to make a contact sheet. Again, the previous tutorial went over how we upload, we use battery name to organize, how we label so that we can select our favorites of the photos on a given photo shoot. So that's the first thing that you do. This one's going to pick up with that process. So ultimately what we're looking at right now in this bridge window is you can see the photos here. If we go back up here again, it's important to take note of the pathway. So remember, once you use battery name, you've ultimately sent a copy of the pictures off your memory card into a folder. That marks the point in which you stop working off the memory card. So we did that. We went into the photography network folder, digital photography, 6th hour digital, into your own folder, into your project folder, and at that point we did some labeling. So what we're looking at right now is the 12 pictures that we selected as favorites, and then there's 5 extra ones, so there was a total of 17 images in this folder. 5 ones that were not favorites. So again, if you see it like this, you're going to click on the select tab, and what you want to see, I'm just going to uncheck that no label, and now it'll just show me those 12 selected. So again, you've done that whole process. Now you're ready to move on to make a contact sheet. So on the contact sheets, generally speaking, if you're in a digital photo class, they're going to be your favorite 12. If it's an AP photo, that number is going to vary, but they're going to be the ones that you think are your best pictures. We've narrowed them down from the group. We're going to put them onto a contact sheet. I'm going to turn that in just so I get a snapshot of what you took on that photo shoot. It's kind of like shooting participation points ultimately. And then you're going to start editing from there. So that's kind of this workflow. So while we're in our project folder and we see our selected pictures, you're going to go ahead and select them all, clicking on the first picture, holding down Shift, selecting the last picture. And then it's pretty simple. With them all selected, down here it's going to tell you you have 12 selected. I'm going to go up to the top where it says Tools. And instead of clicking on battery name, I'm going to go down to Photoshop and then over to Contact Sheet 2. This is going to launch Photoshop. And it's going to bring up a window that looks like we need to make a lot of changes in, but we really don't actually. The only thing that you're going to adjust is way down here underneath thumbnails. You're going to leave everything else the same. Under thumbnails, all you're going to do is change the columns and the rows to equal the number of pictures you'd like to fit on this contact sheet. And a contact sheet is just going to save basically small pictures on one piece of paper so that you can see all of them together in one space. We don't want this to be on multiple pieces of paper, okay? So I'm going to set my columns and rows to 3 and 4 because 3 times 4 equals 12. Then all I'm going to do is hit OK. And it's going to start making this for me. So Photoshop really does all of the work with this process. It's going to open each picture, resize it to a thumbnail size, and it's going to paste it on this quote-unquote sheet of paper, just a blank white piece of paper. It's going to show me, again, a glimpse into all of the pictures that you took, and it's going to show me whether or not you named it properly. So a good way to not get the full points on this contact sheet is if this file name doesn't match the project. Then I know that you didn't do something right in the former process of uploading and battery naming, and therefore you don't get the points for that. So you want to be aware of that. Okay, so we've got this contact sheet. The last thing we need to do is just save it. So I'm going to go up to the top of the screen. I'm going to hit File. I'm going to go down to Save As versus Save. Save As is going to give me some more controls to say what kind of file I want to save it as and where I want to send it. Okay, so I'm going to hit Save As. It's going to automatically call it Contact Sheet. You could get rid of these numbers if you want. You're going to save it to a specific project folder, so you don't necessarily have to put anything else in this file. It should be the only contact sheet in that project folder. But we do need to go to Where. So I'm going to click this arrow right here so that I can expand this area. And I need to go and find that network folder again. To find that, I'm going to go down here to HSP IM Lab 22701. And then I'm going to see the photography network folder here. And then again, digital, 6th, and then I'm looking for my folder. And then I'm going to choose my project folder. It's a little bit of a pathway there, so you definitely need to take the time to walk yourself through and make sure you're in the right spot. The other thing is I'm going to save this not as a Photoshop document. I'm going to have you guys turn these into Google Classroom, and to do so I need them in JPEG form so that I can just quickly see them and I don't have to download them and open them into Photoshop. Again, if it's not the right file, it's going to be another way that you're going to lose points on this. So where it says Format, you're going to scroll down and you're going to choose JPEG. Ignore anything else that you're seeing here and simply hit Save. We're always going to save just for good habits. We're going to save at 12. So I'm going to hit OK, and now it's saving it into that folder. At that point, I can close it out of Photoshop. This is always going to pop up for whatever reason, even though you just saved it, so hit Don't Save. And then you can close Photoshop. And what we should now see, if we select No Label here, so we can see everything in this scavenger hunt folder, we should see, I need to backtrack for a second and give it a chance to load. Okay, so it wasn't in there a second ago, but it is now. So now I have all of my pictures in my scavenger hunt folder plus a contact sheet. That's going to be helpful for turning things in. So that's the process for making a contact sheet.